Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and aspiring professional speakers.
Mm.
Let me start with a simple question. Raise your hand. How many of you have given a speech that made someone come up afterwards and say, wow, you should be doing this professionally? Okay. Thank you for sharing. If you've heard that or even thought it yourself, then tonight is for you. Toastmasters has given us something extraordinary. It gave us courage when we had fear. It gave us structure when we had nerves, confidence when we once avoided speaking altogether. That was me. But at some point, many speakers reach a crossroads. They ask, what's next? How do I move from club speeches to paid stages? How do I turn my message, my story, my expertise into real impact and real opportunity? That gap between Toastmasters excellence and professional speaking readiness is exactly why we are here. The vision for this specialty club is bold and very clear: to create a bridge from Toastmasters to the professional speaking world. This will not just be another club where you practice speaking. This is a place where speeches become keynotes, evaluations become coaching, pathways projects become market ready presentations, and confidence become career momentum. We envision a community where Toastmasters just don't speak well, they speak professionally. Why would this club matter? Professional speaking demands a different level of mastery. It's not just filling time or completing objectives. It's about commanding a room, designing experiences, moving audiences to action, and understanding the business side of speaking. That's what this club will be designed to support. Whether your goal is to become an accredited speaker, a keynote presenter, a trainer, a coach, entrepreneur, or thought leader, this club will exist to help you get there intentionally and strategically. This specialty club will focus on, fingers don't work, three core pillars. First, skill development. We go beyond club level speeches into advanced storytelling, presentation design for professional audiences, voice, pacing, and stage presence, audience engagement that works outside of the Toastmasters walls. This is where speeches become memorable experiences. Second, professional growth. Professional speaking is both an art and a business. This club will provide guidance on building a speaking brand, marketing yourself as a speaker, pricing, positioning, and professionalism, creating opportunities beyond Toastmasters. You don't have to figure this out alone. We will grow together. And third, networking and mentorship. Growth accelerates when you're around people who've gone where you want to go. This club will connect members with accredited speakers, experienced professional speakers, peer coaches who give professional level feedback. We envision collaborative workshops, practice sessions, and even speaking opportunities beyond the club. This club is for the Toastmaster who's ready for more. It's for members transitioning into professional speaking, aspiring accredited speakers, entrepreneurs, trainers, coaches, storytellers, motivators, and keynote dreamers. If you're serious about your message and how far it can travel, you belong here. Our goal is not just to start another Toastmasters club.
Yeah.
Our goal is to launch a premier professional speaking specialty club, support members on the accredited speaker journey, build a strong network of professional speakers within District 83, and increase engagement, growth, and long-term retention for Toastmasters who want speaking to matter beyond the meeting room. So tonight isn't just an interest meeting, it's an invitation to raise your speaking goals, to sharpen your message, and intentionally step onto the path of professional speaking. If Toastmasters helped you find your voice, this club will help you take it to the world. Welcome to the beginning of something bigger. Now, I just need to do, there we go. Yay! Now, to help us understand how this can happen, I would like to introduce our keynote for the evening, Dr. Kevin Snyder. Dr. Kevin Snyder is a full-time professional speaker who credits Toastmasters as a key part of his journey to delivering motivational keynotes to over 1 million people across 1,500 audiences in all 50 states and internationally. In 2022, he was the only speaker in the world to earn Toastmasters accredited speaker designation. And he also holds the certified speaking professional designation from the National Speakers Association. Before launching his speaking career, Kevin served in student affairs, most recently as Dean of Students at High Point University. Today, he coaches aspiring speakers and is the best-selling author of several books, one of which is titled Paid to Speak: How to Become a Professional Speaker. Kevin lives in North Carolina with his family, and fun fact, he fulfilled a lifelong dream of meeting Bob Barker and winning big on The Price is Right. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Kevin Snyder. Kevin,
Woo-hoo!
come on down.
All right. Thank you, Pamela.
Great job.
Hey, great introduction there. I think you must have read what I gave you. Good job. Excellent. And hey, let me just, Pam, excellent on the description of the club too. I know we're already getting started here, but let me tell you something. Speakers refer speakers. I'm involved with several Toastmasters clubs. I'm involved with several speaker masterminds. And if ever I'm not available or the best fit when a speaking inquiry comes my way, guess what I do? I refer other speakers. And about 90% of my speaking business comes from referral, either people who have recommended me or people who have seen me. So we're going to talk tonight about, depending where you're at, how to get started, how to grow in professional speaking. But I love the community and kind of the intention behind this club. And I'm honored to be part of an interest meeting where I hope you all will take action and decide that speaking no longer is something that you just kind of do for fun and something that you've not just kind of thought about, hey, maybe one day. No, today is the day. Today is the day that perhaps you could actually start planting more of those intentional seeds to actually say, hey, thank you, day job. Now I'm going to live my dream job. How's that sound? Right? And you have a lot of mini vacay. Anytime I speak at a location where I'm like, hey, that's a cool city. That's a cool location. Maybe my wife might want to join me or my kids. Guess what it turns into? Not just a business trip, a little mini vacay. So anyway, thank you, Pamela, Adam, and just everybody else for being here tonight and making this event happen. So real quick, my time is very limited. We're going to solve all the world's problems here in about 12 more minutes. But where are my Price is Right fans? Anybody? Raise your hand if you're a Price is Right fan. All right, Pete, thank you. Michael, Jay, yes. If you didn't raise your hand, check your pulse, right? And does anybody know in the chat, put in the chat, Bob Barker, the Bob Barker passed away. Anybody know what age he passed away at recently? What? Put it in the chat. What age did Bob Barker pass? Michael, you got it. Ding, 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 ding. 99 years old. Anybody know why? Why 99? Because you know he can't go over $1, right? So, but let me tell you something. This story, I'm not going to get into it tonight with you, but I had the amazing experience of living my dream as a childhood kid to meet Bob Barker and be on The Price is Right. And there's a whole backstory to it. My counselor recommended The Price is Right to me to help me with my own depression as a teenager. Again, there's a whole backstory here. I'm not a naturally motivated person. I'm also not a natural speaker, so quit judging me, right? But through my story, when I was able to actually live this dream about, and it's a persistence story, I'll never forget sharing it with a group of students one day at a conference where I was presenting for my job as an example of leadership and goal setting. And I had a line of students waiting to come talk to me afterward, asking me if I'd come speak at their campus. So what Pam talked about at the very beginning tonight, if you've ever envisioned or had the experience of people waiting in line to chat with you afterward of a speech, let me tell you something. That means you had impact. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's about the message, right? So if it weren't for The Price is Right, I would not have a signature story that had launched my speaking career. My first ever presentation was called Passion, Persistence, and The Price is Right. I had one speech and only one audience I was talking to. 3 years later, I was making more money, traveling 2 or 3 times a month than I was in my job. And that's when I knew I had a garden growing. So I'm not saying that to impress you, but maybe to impress upon you the purpose of this club. Yes? Are we smiling? Because if I can do it, trust me, I believe anybody can do it. But yeah, you got to have the vision. You got to have a lot of grit. You got to put the reps in. And I honestly don't think it should take you as long as it took me, because I had no clue what I was doing. And I did not even know about Toastmasters. So this club and what you're doing here is absolutely phenomenal. So look, real quick, I would encourage you to take notes. I know this is being recorded, but I truly believe that your rate of return here, in the short time at least I have with you, not that I'm going to share anything. I mean, I hope what I share with you are some good insights, but it's all about you and your intention here. If you're just going to watch me, that's great. But if you don't have a pen out with a pad of paper or something on your phone, then that's probably that's the engagement you're also going to receive. And I'd encourage you, if you don't have your video on, take your video off. You just make sure you have a shirt on. If you're eating, that's fine too. But if you have your video off, put your video on just for a moment. I'd encourage, because again, that's going to impact your rate of engagement here. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, Carol, love you. Thank you. Good to see you. You look beautiful. All right. Sonali, same thing. You too. No judgment here. All right. So real quick, there are a couple cardinal rules that I live by. Number one is know your audience. And by that I mean I always have to know who I'm speaking to. Just yesterday, I spoke to a specific company who saw me at a conference, their HR representative. They're in the dental space. They do an annual meeting where they bring all their people in for the year. They're a remote company, about 100 employees. That's who I spoke to yesterday. They're called Net 32. So it was a company, a corporate company. Next week, I'm speaking to a community college. It's a campus-wide keynote event where there's going to be students, faculty, and staff. Week after that, I'm speaking at an HR conference in Ohio. So I speak to a wide variety of groups, but I specifically started speaking to only college students and only fraternity and sorority audiences. Very niche, but that's what I did, right? And by the way, I used to hire speakers. So everything I share with you tonight, it's not just me as in my own experience. If I can't prove it or I don't have experience with it, it's not going to come out of my mouth. But my experience comes from me as a speaker. Since I first started speaking June 2nd of 2002, I remember that specific first keynote at the University of Tampa. And I remember it because it was the worst day of my life, right? But I kept with it. I knew I had something there. But before that, as Pamela mentioned, I worked in student affairs. I hired speakers. I probably hired 50 speakers before I ever thought I could become one. So I learned the business of speaking By hiring speakers. I actually was the event organizer. I was the meeting planner. So a lot of my experience also comes from me actually hiring speakers and having relationships currently with speaker bureaus and meeting planners. So I feel like I have a good pulse on what's going on. Plus, I'm very involved with the National Speakers Association. So back to know your audience. What I want to do, get your text hands ready real quick. Tell me about you real quick, because you're the key. Anytime I speak to an audience, and I speak to a variety of them, I always want to know who they are so that I can add value to what they do in their day-to-day. So if you are an aspiring speaker, I'm not going to ask if you can see my slides, because I know that you can, because I have a switcher. I have a switcher that allows me to do this, to this, and then that. That's a whole nother session we can do on virtual technology, standing up, creating the in-person experience for your virtual environment. That's a whole nother program. But what I want you to think about right now is, who are you? Are you an aspiring speaker? Maybe you've never gotten paid to speak, but you know there's something inside you and you know you want to do it. Number two would be, you're an emerging speaker. You've spoken a few times, maybe you've gotten paid, maybe you haven't. Maybe a couple times you've gotten $500, maybe $1,000 or more, but a couple times you've gotten paid to speak, or you've just spoken professionally outside your job and outside Toastmasters. Number three would be, you're a seasoned speaker. You're like, hey bro, tell me something I don't already know. I consistently make $2,500 to $5,000, $10,000 plus. If you're a seasoned pro, that's number three. Or number four, if you're just here for the free pizza or cocktails, that's fine too. Maybe you're here to support the club, just getting it off its feet. That's fine. But I want to know who you are real quick. So in the chat, let me know who you are. Thank you. Candace, Bruce, Kelsey, Kaja, Arel. I'm seeing some twos. I like it. Emerging, aspiring, emerging. We got seasoned. Adam's a seasoned pro. I love it. All right. I see some twos. 2.5. Oh, I love it. 2.5. Don't put me in a box, Kevin. Don't put me. I got 6 kids. Don't put me in a box. I love it. All right. And if you haven't answered yet, you probably won't. So that's fine too. All right. And yeah, we'll talk about coaching too, and how coaching can fuel speaking and vice versa. So I kind of figured we'd have the bell curve a little bit here, and we do. So that's great. So I do feel like all this will add value. You decide your goal, and just like this club, and just like kind of maybe some insights I'll share, I don't have the answers. I have insights, that's all. It will help you fill that gap between where you are and where you want to be, right? At least that's truly what I believe. And by the way, I got nothing to sell tonight. I'm here to support. Pamela mentioned I did write a book called Pay to Speak, because so many people want to pick my brain, take me out for coffee, buy me chicken dinner. And I'm like, you know what? If I write this book, it'll actually help people a lot more, and it'll save me actual time. So tomorrow on Amazon, this book is free. I made it free for you all. You're welcome. You're welcome. Can I get a thank you? I'm kidding.
Thank you.
It is free. The ebook is free, not the print, but the ebook is free, so don't get too surprised. But the book is there. It's free for you, and this lays out exactly my process, everything I know now, from if I were to get started today, what I would do. And it's also how I run my business now. So you'll hear a little bit about this tonight. I'm going to pull some of these insights from the book tonight. And I know I've got 8 minutes left, so I'll be around for Q&A. We're going to do a Q&A a little bit later as well. But I want you to know that's a resource for you. So one of the questions that I get consistently is this: is now a good time? Because let me tell you something, unless you're getting advice, and be very careful. If you're taking notes, write this down. Be very careful who I take advice from. If you're not getting insights and advice from somebody who's a professional speaker, and that's their main bread and butter, be cautious about the advice that you're going to believe, right? Because I've taken advice from people who talked a good game, who had speaker, author, coach, consultant on their LinkedIn, and they couldn't pay their light bill with speaking. And I followed their advice. Now looking back, I'm like, whoa, sometimes there's lessons, and sometimes there's lessons earned, because you wouldn't have learned them any other way. But is now a good time for speaking? And the answer is absolutely, and here's why. I do mostly keynote speaking. In-person events are back. And catch this, virtual events supplement those as well. When I do a speaking proposal now, I offer a beyond the keynote option that offers additional virtual supplementation. I do a lot of events, so they're looking for a keynote presenter. I'm just telling you this, events are back. They're back full throttle. So yes, some industries, the economy is the economy is very uncertain right now, but there's some industries that are taking advantage of that. But if they're hosting an event, they're likely looking for a speaker. So is now a good time? Well, for somebody who's doing this frequently, I would say now is a good time. Now is a great time. And if not now, when? If not now, when? So I would say yes. That's a very common question I get because it's very noisy. And I know speakers right now who they're looking to pivot and shift and they don't know what they're going to, and they're buying into systems and they're doing things that are like literally like, I'm like, if you just focus on a great speech, you will be referred. So write that down too. A great speech will be referred. Mm-hmm. I don't pay money for lists. I've got some independent consultants that I pay to do specific things for me, but I am my team. I am my business. And I have friends who are speakers that have a lot of overhead and they're paying an agent or they're paying somebody on retainer or they're paying, and I'm like, but if you have a great speech, people are going to wait in line to chat with you. And if you have a good system in place where you can capture those leads in the moment of your speech, like Talkadot or a QR code or on your website with an opt-in, you will know every single person at that speech who wants more of you. And then you got to follow up. So you don't need, I'm not saying you don't need help, because you do, or we do, I do, but you don't need all these things that could be kind of noisy, right? All right, so let's dive into some other content real quick. One size does not fit all. Write that please down. Write that please down. There's many models to the business of speaking. And this is another thing that I've learned kind of hard in the past few years, because in past few, I would say the past decade, because as I've gotten to know other speakers, there are lots of different models. There's speakers that could care less if they got paid because they do have coaching, consulting, or some kind of training or a service behind them. So they're looking for exposure, right? We'll talk about this in just a second. Or there's folks that, hey, I just want to leverage speaking to get more coaching clients or consultant clients, right? So there's many models to this business of speaking. And there's also many ways to get paid. Let me give you a couple examples. My bread and butter is doing keynote speeches. So if you desire to do keynotes, or if you are doing keynotes and want to do more of them, you and I should probably chat one-on-one. That's the business model behind my book, Paid to Speak. We'll talk a little bit about that today. But you have to ask yourself this: what speaker will you be? Do you want to be a keynoter? And this is me, this picture here is me at a company event, doing an annual meeting, or all hands on deck meeting, whatever they might call it. It's where they bring all their employees in. But how I got that one was because I spoke at this association meeting. This was the association of where one of those HR professionals at the company saw me speak. This is where I focus much of my energy when I'm speaking. So associations. I also am asked to do workshops. So if a company says, hey, we saw you at this event, can you come in and do this for our company? Well, the answer is, yeah, absolutely. I also still do lots of colleges. This is how I got started. Colleges, there's a lot of ways to get paid at colleges and even at high schools. So if you ever heard or assumed or somebody's told you, oh, there's no money in schools, they just don't know how to do it, respectfully. Also, retreats. I've been asked to hire, or I've been hired to facilitate retreats, literally by somebody seeing a keynote, and even an MC. So if you want to facilitate retreats, or if you want to be an MC person, then all that can be bundled in to a proposal. And that's where there's multiple income streams through speaking. So if I were you, if I was a 1 tonight or a 2, and even if I was a 3, like Adam, who's a pro, right? He's seasoned. Only because you put it in the chat, Adam. And I like Adam, I know him. But regardless, I would say this: where to grow. How about this? Where to grow would be this: be very clear on the type of speaker that you want to be. Does that make sense? Based on those examples I just shared, be very clear, or try to be clear on the type of speaker you will be. And I think that might be the key word, is will be. Because where you are 6 months from now may not be, or 1 year or 2 years from now, but let's focus on the vision of where you want to be. So if it's keynote speaking, then yeah, absolutely. If you want, and even the same concepts will work if you're like, hey, I don't really care about the keynotes and getting paid to speak. I don't want that to limit me. So how do I actually leverage just some of the speaking business model to like just have the platform to help me then be able to connect and build my list, and then I've got coaching, consulting, and or training to offer them. Does that kind of make sense? Yes or yes? All right, cool. And if I get excited about this, if you can't tell, I don't want that to cloud how much work there's going to be behind the scenes here. Because the only time that our audience sees us is the time we have in front of them. They don't see all the work that we put in. And even this presentation, I've invested probably 2.5 hours just thinking about it, preparing for it, and getting a couple simple slides together. But every single presentation I do is the next most important one I do. And I didn't want to let Pamela down. I didn't want to let you down. I wanted to provide value. So don't let my excitement overshadow like the fact that this is going to be a lot of work, but it ain't going to be work. Hopefully it's going to be purpose. All right, so focus on the type of speaker that you want to be. That's going to be very crystal clear. All right, the next thing I'd encourage you to do, next step, or to kind of grow, is it's not what you speak on. It's the problem that you want to solve. When you tell people you're a speaker, envision you're sitting next to somebody at a networking event or you're on a plane, and this is at the end of module 1 in my book. Be prepared for this question. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Anybody put it in the chat. See if you can nail it, if you kind of know where I'm leading you here. The number one question you're going to get when you tell somebody that you're a speaker, what are they going to ask you? Exactly, Michael. Yep. You got 2 Michaels. They both got it right. Right. Teddy, that's the next third question. What should we pay you, right? But they're going to ask what you speak on. Be prepared for that question. As Toastmasters, we're pretty good about talking what we speak on. Oh, I speak on this. Great speakers are great storytellers. You have to be a good storyteller, but a great professional speaker is a great problem solver. So I want you to position yourself, and if you can do this, you're already ahead of the game of most professional speakers I know, because we still talk about, we're very good talking and what we talk about, but how is what we talk about solving a problem? Because that's what an executive is paying for. This company who I spoke to yesterday didn't want me to come in and talk about Price is Right. They wanted me to come in and talk about how to shift their employees' mindsets to help them get to adapt to change better in a virtual remote environment where AI is crushing them. And most of what I talked about was how to shift mindsets. It wasn't about AI. It was about the mindset problem that not that they have, but that we can have. You see the difference there? So these are concepts I'm sharing with you tonight. But be focused on the problem that you want to solve. The fourth thing I would encourage you to think about is this, and we'll land the plane here in another 2 or 3 minutes, is be thinking about the target audience that you want to speak to. So if you know the type of speaker you want to be, you know there's many ways here of a business is speaking, and you know you're kind of have an idea of, okay, I think this is kind of what I want to talk about and how I want to help people, the problem. Now you got to ask yourself, well, who needs to hear that message? Right? Who? And this is module 3 in Paid to Speak, and this is my jam. This is where I get excited, because clarity on who we want to speak to will become not just our target audience, it will become crystal clear on how we know who to reach out to. So think of it like this. You got a field of squirrels. What's going to happen if you try to chase all these squirrels at the same time? How many are you going to catch? Yeah, exactly. None, right? Yeah, fuzzy targets are hard to hit. So what we want to do is focus on one target audience at a time. So think of it like focus. Yes, all of us, I'm looking at the gallery here, all of us could probably speak to a wide variety of audiences and industries, kind of like how I talk to you. You know, corporate. I mentioned HR conferences. I mentioned college. All 3 of those are people who've reached out to me. But when I'm doing outreach, I focus on a specific association in a specific industry, one squirrel at a time. So follow one course until what? Squirrel. Okay? And let me give you one quick example of this as we jump into it. Here's a great example of this. This is my business model, right? It's not rocket science. However, I honestly have never heard another speaker being this crystal clear about how to find structure and events. Because if you're taking notes, write this down. The company is not hiring you. The association is not hiring you. The college is not hiring you. The school is not hiring. It's the event that's hiring you. Because guess what an event has? 2 things. Budget and an audience. I don't speak at groups where they already don't have the audience for me. I don't do retreats. I tried doing retreats where I bring people in. It is hard to put butts in seats. That could be a model you want to go by. Have fun with it. You're going to spend more time putting it together, marketing it, putting butts in seats, and by the time that event even starts, you'll be like, I'm done with this. How about this? How about you get hired by the event company, by the institution, by the school, by the company, and they're providing the audience for you? To me, that just sounds easier. But my business model is that. So here's an example of this, and then I'll shut up, okay? I'll shut up after this. I speak at a lot of SHRM associations. I would not be in front of you if it were not for the Society for Human Resource Management. My speaking coach, I hired a coach when I first launched into full-time speaking. First thing he said to me was, Kevin, if you want to speak about personal leadership, motivation, team engagement, culture, you need to look into SHRM. I'm like, what's SHRM? He's like, it's an acronym, stupid. I'm like, well, what does that mean? He goes, it's HR professionals who are on the touch point of all those topics. I'm like, oh. So I went to shrm.org, and I'm not suggesting that you do this, right? But SHRM probably will appeal to you. And what I did was I clicked on find a SHRM chapter near you. And guess what I found? I typed in my zip code for here in North Carolina, where I live. I'm based in Raleigh, North Carolina. Catch this. 21 different chapters of SHRM in North Carolina alone. And each of them host a monthly meeting, a monthly chapter meeting, where they're looking for a what? What do you think? Put it in the chat. What are they looking for? Michael, a speaker. Now, these chapter meetings may not pay much or pay at all, but it's a showcase for you. It's a showcase for me. I've got 4 of these chapters that I'm speaking for in the next 3 months. When I first launched into speaking, I had 3 lattes at the Green Bean Coffee Shop in Greensboro, North Carolina. I reached out to all 21 of these groups. Within 6 months, I had 11 of the chapters booked for a chapter meeting. At the 3rd chapter meeting, I had somebody in the audience who's on the state planning conference. It said, you were great. I'm on the conference committee. I'm selecting speakers. Will you be our keynote? A year after that, 6 figures in speaking. I'm not saying it to impress you. I'm saying it to impress upon you focus. Right? All right, with that, if you ever see an association that has the New Jersey Association of, guess what you're going to find? The North Carolina Association, the Florida Association, the insert state. That becomes your circuit. You could do the same exact program, travel across the country. Or if you don't want to, like I can't travel across the country now. I have a 5 and a 6-year-old. I don't travel. My business has shifted now as compared to when I first started. So I focus more in North Carolina associations in general versus that geographic circuit. All right. So there's also more content I didn't even get to tonight, which if we have extra time, you want to stay a little bit afterward, happy to. But let me do this. Let me shut up, share with you my contact information real quick. If you have questions, I'm happy. I don't know. I'm happy to chat with people. You know, I truly am. Join this club. That's why this club is here. It's not about me. It's about the club mission. And just as a reminder too, make a calendar note. Go to Amazon tomorrow or tonight at 12:01 a.m. You get a free copy of Paid to Speak if you want it. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for bringing that energy.
Thank you.
And I have to chuckle because I think it was Mike. Yeah, Mike in the chat says he's going to relocate to North Carolina so he can hang out with you.
I'm coming. I'm going.
That's awesome. Wow.
And he thought he was speaking to him directly when he said New Jersey, because that actually is where Mike's from.
And I'm in Florida, so we got New Jersey, North Carolina, Florida, and Mike's my buddy. So I think we got 3 of us hang out.
You got it covered. You definitely got it covered. Okay, guys. Now, if you're not energized, something's wrong with you. You may not have that pulse, as Kevin mentioned, if you didn't raise your hand for Price is Right. Sorry, I didn't raise my hand. But I do appreciate all the information that you shared, and it gives you an idea of what could be and how this specialty club could help you get there. I would now like to, there he is. I would now like to bring forward one of our fellow District 83 members. And by the way, he is one of the workshop presenters at the District 83 annual conference on May 2nd at the Gray Cliff. So you might, if you have your ticket, you'll be able to hear him there as well. Adam Holbrook is a John Maxwell certified leadership trainer, conflict resolution specialist, speaker, and executive coach who helps leaders, teams, and educators strengthen communication, improve morale, and build healthier cultures from the inside out. He is the author of Character Evolution, where he shares both practical tools and his own lived experience navigating mental health challenges, showing how self-awareness, empathy, and emotional intelligence can turn conflict into connection. He also wrote How to Give the Best Speech Ever, offering practical tips to help people communicate with confidence and authenticity. As a successful entrepreneur who has built and sold multiple businesses, Adam brings real-world leadership experience into everything he teaches. Adam's podcast, Managing Difficult People, will be released on Apple Podcasts this week. Let's welcome our very own Adam Holbrook.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you for that great introduction. Kevin, I totally enjoyed your presentation tonight. Loved it so much. So many great insights. And one of the piggyback on what Kevin was saying about there's a lot of different ways that we can become speakers. And if you heard the introduction, I'm going to be starting a podcast, the Managing Difficult People podcast. And that is the keynote speech that I provide. That's my keynote, the name of my keynote speech. It used to be called Building Relationships and Changing Culture. Guess how many people signed up for that? Nobody, maybe a couple. And as soon as I changed it to Managing Difficult People while still being kind, that's when everything changed. There is so many layers to this keynote speaking event. And yes, you need a great speech. It's too late to prepare when you get the call to perform. So you have to be ready to go. You have to be ready right now. You have to start preparing your messages right now, preparing everything from your message to the audience engagement to making it all about them, just like Kevin said, and how they are going to make. I like to all my keynotes to have lots of interactions during them because the audience is there for their experience. They're not there for your experience. They're there for their experience, and it's all about them. When Pamela reached out to me about this club, I was really interested in it. And I said, you know what? I speak about 25 times per year. And in that, and Kevin hit the nail on the head, is when you present and you do it well, you get called back for workshops. Now, Kevin was traveling the world for keynote speeches. And the reason why, if I'm going to lead this chapter, this speaking chapter for a period, number one, the reason why I think I would be good at it is because I've done everything wrong in building this business for 6 years. I've done everything wrong. So you wouldn't have to go through those same mistakes that I have made. And I know perfectly well what works, what doesn't work. And I'm still trying new stuff out all the time. But I recognize that a keynote speech is going to, and if you want to have a keynote business, it's very, very difficult. And if you want to take your keynote speech and turn it into multiple workshops within the same organization that you just worked for. So you do a Managing Difficult People keynote, and then you turn it into a workshop from 10 workshops that go with it. That's truly, now you're not searching for the next customer all the time. That's the model that I like. You may not like that model. You may want to go after consistently applying for different associations after different associations. I have an email list that I'm consistently writing emails on. I have lots of different methods that I use. I have applying for speaking engagements all the time, and I'm constantly working on new material. And I want to always provide tried and true stuff in my keynote speech but I always like to add a little bit of something new that I tried out in Toastmasters at one of the meetings, which went well during the Toastmaster meeting, but I wanted to try it out during my keynote. But I don't want to give them all new material. Just think about if you go to see a comedian, you want to hear their tried and true stuff first, and then you want to hear maybe sprinkled a couple new bits and pieces. The structure, how I see this club going, is number one, we come to the meeting and we are going to, number one, talk about our wins for the week, our wins for the month. We're going to go around. If you had a win for the month, whether you had a speaking engagement, you applied for a speaking engagement, and now you have an interview for that speaking engagement, that's all wins. And now we're going to share that exact process with the group, because we all are in this together. We all want to learn from each other. Well, how did you get that initial contact? Did you meet them through building a relationship with them? Did you apply through their website? How did you meet them? Did you call them? How many times did you have to call them? All of those levels is how we would love to start the meetings, all those wins. And then I love a lesson, a mini lesson as the next component. And it could be ways to market your keynote speech. It could be a lot of different, building a keynote. It could be, and we're going to invite guests for that. We're going to have other members that have had success in that, doing that as well. So that's another aspect of it. Now, I also wanted to point out is there's a lot of areas in my growth and my keynotes, which I have failed at. I have been pushing my book sales at keynotes, pushing my book sales. And all right, great. I made, you buy this book, I made $5, and you buy this book and I made $10. By the way, it's great. I let them know that I'm doing that, but what is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is to move them to the next point. If you have the honor of speaking at an association, where are you taking them next? And how are you taking them there next? It could be a QR code that they have to sign up and they get a free gift if they give you their information. So many times afterwards, like Kevin said, there's a line. If you crush a speech, there's a line to talk to you. And that next half an hour is so key. And if you're going to be spending time just signing books and talking to people about how great your speech was, you're not going to be able to get the next level. So it's also about how am I going to using that time, that next half an hour, because that's when you book, you get bookings. That's when you book the next Zoom meeting with the potential client moving forward. And if you're going to be spending time selling your books and promoting that and not taking people to the next level, you're going to stay in that spot and constantly be looking for the next one. So there's a lot of layers of this, and this is hard work. And I know a lot of people don't have the honor of doing this full time like I do. So I've had a lot of time to really get this wrong and then figure out how to get it right. And I'm adding on the podcast on there too. And I hired a marketing company to help blow it out on Apple Podcasts so I can get more reach with that. So we're gonna start the meetings with wins, and then there'll be a lesson, and then we're gonna have, in my vision, we're gonna have a breakout room. Say if we have 25 members, we're gonna do 5 members in each group. In every single meeting, each person will speak. Every single meeting. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes. And then we're going to have a round robin evaluation. Now, these are not just your great public speaking messages that are a great story. Yes, we need stories, we need emotions, and we need movements, and we need a lot of different feelings associated with that. But we also have to be able to turn it into a keynote, because a lot of times, the Toastmasters International contest, I applied, I made it to districts last year for my Managing Difficult People keynote, my speech last year. And it was great. And I made it to that. But that section, that 6 minute and 30-second speech, I built the keynote around that 6 minute speech of managing difficult people, just based on that one speech. So you have that one speech that you are consistently, that that the audience loves it. You build it around that one. You build it on around that one. And then there's a lot of layers to it. There's, not just the story, not just the lesson, but, steps, drills, how not drills, suggestions, strategies for working through each one of those elements. An average keynote is around 45 minutes long. So you have 45 minutes to wow the audience, and there's no room for words that don't matter. Every word's got to count. And if you make every word count, you will get hired again. And it's not a snowball effect. It's a very strategic ball that just keeps getting bigger each year. And I think as soon as you get to the point where you're at maybe 30, 40, 50 gigs a year, paid gigs a year, you're going to be able to gain traction. The most I've made on a speech was $14,000. I know people and that was 2 hours of my time. It was a workshop. It was awesome. And I've gotten paid over $10,000 quite a few times. And that's great for 2 hours worth of work. But the amount of time that went into getting that gig took a lot of effort and a lot of work. So you can look at it and be like, yeah, man, you made 14 grand, but you know how many blood, sweat, and tears, hours that went into that? So there's a lot of layers to it. And then when you get in front of that audience, you want to make sure that you're adding that most value. And I think we all understand that. So I'm excited to lead this operation with you. I think I have to answer some other questions. We are going to do pathways within this club, but pathways is not going to be very strict. We'd like to, and Pamela, you can have my back on this one, is that, Toastmasters wants us to be part of pathways. Toastmasters wants us to be a part of pathways, but we understand that this is a club that is unlike any other. Kevin is in a club like this in his North Carolina area, and it's like the only other club in the United States that's doing this. And this club isn't about Toastmasters, isn't about pathways, but it is integrated, and we can get credit for those courses. And I got to tell you, if you're a DTM, that goes on your resume when you're applying for a speaking engagement. So that's very, very important to be a DTM, and that's something that I'm striving for, to become a DTM. So you're going to need to go through pathways in order to do that. We have the expectations is that if you are just kind of casually do this is me talking right now. And Pamela, if you disagree with me, you can chime in here, is you got to want this. And I understand you may have a full-time job, you may have something else, but if we're going to show up each week with material that we've rehearsed and we've worked on, and it may be just based off of the evaluations. You may bring the same exact speech 5 times in a row, but if you're working on it and consistently tweaking it, we're going to just keep moving it forward. But this isn't just a Toastmaster club where you just show up and give a speech every so often. This is one where we're going to work toward this. And I want to be around people that are wanting to grow, not just people that are just like, yeah, I'd like to become a seasoned speaker. I'd like to be paid, but actually put the work and the time and the effort in. So with that said, I don't know the meeting frequency. I think we're going to do twice a month is what I would like to do. That's what I can give right now. I couldn't do more than that. And I think if we did less than that, it wouldn't be fair to everyone. And we haven't figured out the exact timing on it yet. This was just the initial meeting on when we're proposing, seeing how much interest was in tonight's meeting. And then we'll be able to make a proposal on that. I know Kevin's club meets during the day. My current club, I'm currently president of the Sunset Toastmasters Club. I think that's coming to an end. When does the end of the term?
End of June.
June 30th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so end of the June. So I think that would be a really great time on my time schedule, ending one and not being fully responsible for being in charge of one to help leading this off the ground. And we talked about the proposed format, membership expectations, and the timeline. And with that, I think I answered everything. I think it's going to be each meeting will go in different pods, different groups with each and every one, so we're able to play off of what we learned last time and get new evaluations. This isn't for our ego and to have our ego stroked and say, wow, that was really good. This is really just to be able to get better so we can get on stages. Thank you. Back to you, Pamela.
Thank you for that, Adam. And I do appreciate your vision. And I believe because this is a specialty club, as you state, there's a lot of flexibility here. It's not your traditional Toastmasters club, as you said, where you come, you do a speech, and you leave, the usual. You can structure this however you want. One of the things that I know will also be included, particularly because most of you are here because you're thinking about or currently doing professional speaking, it's the networking, bringing in other experts to give workshops, to coach, to help you through that process. So you'll have those special things going on in meetings as well. I am now going to open up the floor, and I ask, if possible, raise your virtual hand if you have any questions for either one of our presenters or any questions about the club that we would like to form. Starting with Jay.
All right. I guess I got the quick draw. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, both of the speakers. This is fantastic. It is really exciting. And I've been hoping for something like this to come around. So this is amazing. With regard to location, is this going to be virtual, in person, hybrid? What is the current thought?
Okay. The current thought is initially you will probably start off, if not stay there. I don't know if you're going to stay there. Start off online. We need to find out who actually has interest in this club, where they're located. It could be online only, it could be hybrid, or you could do online and occasionally have a meeting spot. It really depends on who makes up this club, because this will be your club. You will be making those decisions on where, when, how. All of that, because it's a brand new club, the chartering members, meaning those of you who decide to start this club, make the decisions on how your club operates.
Yeah, I think it needs to be virtual to begin. It makes sense because we're all from all over the area. It's going to have to be virtual. One of the things I see, though, is we're all sitting. Did you notice that we were all sitting? And when Kevin spoke, he was standing up. Did you guys notice that? I'm envisioning our speeches not sitting in a virtual, because I've been to a lot of Toastmasters Club meetings where they have their virtual meeting and they're sitting down when they're speaking. I'm not envisioning that. I'm envisioning everyone standing up. We got to get that. It's the blood flowing, the movement, standing and moving. And I do want to be able to have, I know Jay has done it with his club. Jay is an amazing member of his club in Edison. If you ever want to go check out a club, like the best club by far is Jay's club. And I know there's some other members from that club as well. And he's very, very, but they have like, I don't know, what do you call it? Date night, where they have like all their members go out and hang out. But I'm envisioning several times a year to be able to rent out a little space and have a meeting where we can actually be in person.
Okay. All right, before I call on the next person, because I know Mike, Chris Molly, you said you had a hard stop.
Nope.
I wanted to give
Nope.
you. Oh, you're good.
I told her I couldn't leave, so I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that later. She's taking care of it. I'm good.
Oh, so she'll take care of the 6 kids while you have fun here.
I'll deal with the fallout later. I'm here for the duration. Let's do it.
Okay, Christine.
Okay, hi. How are you? So nice to see everyone. Thank you so much, Kevin and Adam, and Pamela, of course. And I just want to ask. I'm not a member of any Toastmasters group or Pathways group at all. So, do I need to be a member of one of those groups before starting with this group?
Well, if you start with this group, you will be a Toastmaster.
Okay.
No, there's no experience necessary. We're looking for people who have a real interest in learning how to become speakers, keynote speakers, presenters, workshop presenters, all of those things. So if that is your passion, then this is likely a place for you.
Okay, but of course I would like to join. What I live in Newton, It's in Sussex County. Is the nearest one 83? Toastmasters 83?
Yeah,
Yes.
you have a club in Andover, by the way.
Oh, really?
My parents live in Newton in Hampton Township. Yeah.
Okay, so which one is in Andover?
I'm not sure. You can find that out online. But
Okay.
join this one.
Okay, I'll join Andover too. 83 is 83 based out of Sparta?
Now, District 83 covers most of New Jersey and parts of New York, and Fairfield County, Connecticut, starting July 1st. We'll be picking them up as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Do we have any other questions? Michael Cohen. Cohen.
Yeah, hi. Hi. I've been working all day, so I had to go for a walk, and I was on like 6 Zoom calls, so I was switching from phone to computer and back and forth just to move around. I just do we have like when the club's gonna start? Or is this the preliminary? I didn't get any information on that. I was kind of confused there.
Okay, let me explain what we're doing here. District 83 has an initiative. We're trying to start several specialty clubs, this being one of them. We're looking at doing a podcasting club. We already had that interest meeting. A humor club. We've already had that interest meeting. This one will be for people who want to become professional speakers. And there's another one upcoming for business owners and entrepreneurs. So these are specialty clubs that we want to start, which are a little different than your traditional Toastmasters club. We have the interest meeting to present what our vision is, to see how many people are truly interested in becoming part of that vision. If we obtain at least 20 members, which is the minimum we need to start a club, we will then launch the club. My goal is to have this club start by June 1st. That will be the official charter date. Did I answer the whole?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't interfere with Janice and the club that I do with Janice, I'm good to go. Because
I don't want to interfere with any of your existing clubs if at all possible. But
that's the first and third Thursday of the month. So like tonight was like club night, but I told them I would be here for this.
Yeah.
So as long as it's not tonight, I'm good. You got me.
Maybe what we can do is put together a survey of different availabilities, and then we go with the greatest interest states.
And that is
that was my only concern.
That will actually be the next step. After this meeting, I will be sending out an email to everyone who was present and asking, are you interested? If you say yes, we'll do a survey, find out what's the best date that meets most people. It's a possibility we may not hit every person's availability. And if you're one of those people where it doesn't, you might decide, you know what, I'm going to switch up my schedule to do this.
You'll have to bring it up with Janice then. And we all know Janice. So that's my only question. Great. On that note, I'm going to get some ice cream because this is my Friday.
Okay, Michael.
I'm going to listen, but I'm going to get off.
No problem. Any other questions? Wow, this is such a quiet group. I thought you were all speakers. Nobody has anything to say. Jay?
Don't worry. If you want questions, I'll never run out.
I know you do.
Are we going to be doing a full officer team like a regular club? How will this be structured in that way?
Yes, because it is within Toastmasters, you will have the same structure, basically, with your 7 club officers. And you'll have the same responsibilities as other clubs. But again, because it's a specialty club, you can tweak things a little bit to make it work for what your goals are, because this will not be a traditional Toastmasters club.
And let me just add, the rates would be like the normal virtual rates, but I do think we're going to put some extra padding on there if we are going to have a couple of events at halls during the course of the year. It'd be nice to have an extra 20 or $30 per person to know that we're able to do that and build up some extra funds, especially early on.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And Mike put his hand down, but Sakat?
Yeah, as you challenge that, as a speaker, I have to speak, so I raise my hand. Well, I just wanted to say thank you, Pamela, for setting this up. Adam, that's awesome. Good to see you again. We met at Art of Speaking, and Kevin. That was, I don't know if Kevin is still there, but that was an awesome speech. And I'm excited to join. I'm just one quick question. Why wait till till June or July, whatever date you said? Why not this month? Let's get going.
I
Yeah, right
would
now,
love
right now.
Yeah,
I
let's
would
get
love
going
to
now.
do that. I absolutely would love to do that. But again, we have to get that minimum of 20, make the planning, decide when you're going to meet, all those things. And then there's paperwork, that darn paperwork that we have to do for Toastmasters and the collection of the dues to get all of that started. So it does take a little time. So, I mean, June 1st is the goal, but hey, if you guys are raring to go and you're going to do it in the next 2 weeks, I'm all with it.
Yeah, let's get going so we can invite other people, and getting to 20 may not be a big deal. I see at least 6, 7 people already said yes, without counting you and Adam. So you have 10 already.
Yeah,
So
well,
I
we'll
think
see where we
we'll
are.
hit 20.
We'll,
Let's
we'll
get
see
going.
where we are.
Take your time, Pamela, as it.
I do see a few more hands, but I just want to add a couple of things. Because it's a new club, there is a charter fee that we must pay to Toastmasters International. If we get the minimum of 20, and it's a one-time fee, by the way. If we get the minimum of 20, that would be $6.25 from each of you. If we get more than 20, that number drops, but that will get you started as a charter member. I have to add that in there. Jay, you have your hand up again.
I do. So my next question is, it's kind of a two-parter. So it's about overall meeting time frame,
Mhm.
but coupled with what I heard about everyone speaks. So if we have 20 people and I hear everyone speaks at every meeting, and we're talking even 5 minutes a person, 20 times 5 is going to make a long meeting, which so I wanted to understand some of the, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna have breakout rooms, Jay. So you're gonna be in a room with like four people, and you're gonna be speaking for 5 to 7 minutes, and then you're gonna have a round robin with those 4 people. We'll be in that breakout room for a half an hour.
So will the individual breakout rooms be able to be recorded individually?
Pam.
I don't know. I've never tried that. Does anyone know if Zoom does that? That's an excellent question. I will find out for you if no one knows. I will definitely find out for you.
Yeah, because I imagine a lot of us, especially in this club, would want to see our speeches recorded and the feedback recorded.
You could get a tripod stand and just record this. I mean, I know it's weak, but
yeah. Let me find out. I'll find out for you.
So then the other part of that question was, what are we envisioning the overall meeting duration? Is it 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours plus?
An hour and a half is what I see it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
That sounds reasonable to most people that are in my club.
Yeah, your club is unreasonable with time.
I couldn't do your club. Your club is like 17 hours.
Yeah, it's insane.
Thank you, guys.
Pete Loria, long time no see.
Yeah, I know. I hear and speak to you more than anybody else. All right, so the speaking part of the speaking business, I'm pretty good at. We can all use tweaking and improving and whatever. Where I need the most help and guidance is in the business side of the speaking business, right? The promotion, the marketing, getting the gigs, branding, things like that, which is completely outside of Pathways. And I know we're going to loosely follow Pathways because you have to, but what's the plan for addressing the business aspect of the speaking business?
Yeah.
Well, before you answer that, Adam, trust me, it's not outside of Pathways. I guarantee you. I guarantee
The
you. I
specific
guarantee you.
things that we need, I think, are outside of pathways. There's leadership and things like that.
You're reading it. You're looking at it in black and white. There's more to it. But go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, Pete, we're gonna start the meetings with wins, right? And within that wins, there is a whole lot of branding and marketing within that. How did you get that win? How did you get that one speaking gig for free with Sherm? How did you get this? Those steps. And then there's going to be there's going to be a speaker. There's going to be a speaker each week, or there'll be a lesson. And we're going to center that around the branding and the marketing within the business. Like, how do I speak to schools consistently? Okay, I have an email list and I blast it out to 5,000 people every week, 2 emails to these 5. How much business do I get from that? Very, very little. But if I have a mastermind group and have everyone read a chapter in a leadership book each week, and I send it a free sign up for all of these 5,000 people, guess what? I had 10 people sign up. I have the different masterminds going. So now these members come, and every time they're in the room for a 6-week free mastermind, it always leads to a speaking engagement, always leads to business. But this little micro vision right here multiplied out, because I just said that in like 30 seconds, but everything that I'm doing, everything that everyone else is doing for the wins is going to be discussed within the meetings.
And I would also like to add, Toastmasters has so many professional speakers who will volunteer to come and speak to your club about whatever subject you guys are interested in. Kevin, who had to drop, he's not being paid to do this. He came because he supports doing something like this within Toastmasters. He supports all aspiring speakers. So this is something where you can bring experienced people in to help you grow your business.
And we recognize we're all different speakers too. What works for me doesn't work for UP. We're all different speakers, and we're just all like helping each other develop our own voices too. And I know you have a great voice, and I know everyone here that I've heard speak has great voices, but we're just going to help you develop your own voice.
Exactly. Do we have any other questions? All right, guys. Well, I want to let you know, as you know, this is recorded. We will be posting the recording on the district YouTube website. So if you want to rewatch it, it will be available. I will let you know once that is done. As I said, you will all be receiving an email from me outlining the next steps if you're interested. We're not going to ask for any money yet, but I will give you an estimate. I mean, it's Toastmasters, you know what the dues are, but I will outline everything. And if you come back to me, you raise your hand and say, yes, count me in, I'm interested. Here's my commitment to join. Once we hit that 20 mark, we'll get started. I will also be putting together a survey once I get at least 10 people who commit to find out what day and what times work best for you. That way, Adam will have a good feel on where it's going to fall. And then we can come back and say, okay, based on feedback, this is what we're going to do. If it works for you, then we're going to get that application completed. If it doesn't work for you, fill out that application and do it anyway. But I will make sure that we try to cover everything possible so that you know what you're getting into and you're prepared to move forward. And as I said, the goal is June 1st, if not sooner, but I doubt if it's going to be sooner. It takes a little while to put all these people together. That is the plan. So I thank you all for sharing this hour and 20 minutes or so with me. I hope you got a lot out of this interest meeting. And if you have any questions, In the meantime, feel free to reach out to me. You should have my email address, but if you don't, you will once I send that email out. So again, I thank you all. I thank you, Adam, and I'll thank Kevin later because I know he had another engagement. So you guys have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.